Chapter 1. Every generation has visionary leaders. These people help us see the world differently and push us to do more than we thought was possible. The 20th century had its share of visionaries, including Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, Helen Keller, and Steve Jobs. It's the 21st century, and new leaders are taking the stage. Many people think Boyan Slat is one of those leaders. Boyan Slat was born in the city of Delft in the Netherlands on July 27, 1994. His mother was a consultant who helped people moving to the Netherlands. His father was an artist. They divorced when Boyan was a baby, and his father moved back to his native Croatia. Young Boyan loved inventing and making things like tree houses and zip lines with his friends. As he got older, he started working on harder projects like homemade rockets, and he began tinkering with computers. In 2010, 16-year-old Boyan took a trip to Greece to go diving. What he saw there would change his life. He was hoping to swim with colorful fish and other beautiful sea creatures. Instead, he found a sea filled with plastic. There were so many bags floating in the water, one of his friends thought they were jellyfish. Surrounded by all this plastic, Boyan thought, why can't we clean this up? Back at school, Boyan was assigned a research paper. He could choose any subject he wanted, so Boyan decided to study plastic pollution in the ocean. Why was no one cleaning it up? Boyan discovered that plastic pollution is a huge problem all over the world. Humans create more than 272 million metric tons of plastic each year. Half of this plastic is for single-use items like water bottles and takeout containers. How much is 8 million tons? It's 90 Washington monuments. It's 300 statues of liberty. It's 70,000 blue whales. 100,000 Tyrannosaurus Rexes, 4,500,000 cars, 150 million toilets, or 2 billion cats. Tons of plastic pollution end up in the sea. Swirling ocean currents called gyres gather some of this trash into huge garbage patches. There are 5 major garbage patches in the world, but the largest is known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It has a name. It is more than twice the size of Texas and contains more than 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic. It has about 250 pieces of plastic for every person who is alive today. Plastic can cause many problems for ocean creatures and humans. Some animals eat the plastic and it can choke on it or get sick. Others, like dolphins and sea turtles, get tangled in it and die. Plastic that stays in the ocean for longer periods of time can start to break down into microplastics. These tiny pieces of plastics are eaten by fish that are eventually eaten by humans or large predators. Some experts believe humans ingest 8.8 ounces of plastic every year without realizing it. That's enough to fill a dinner plate. Those tiny bits of plastic can leave harmful chemicals in our bodies or cause other problems with their presence. This shows the top 10 sources of the ocean's plastic waste, and I don't know the order. We've got Egypt and Nigeria, China, Vietnam and the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. Boyan learned that many scientists and activists were worried about plastic pollution, but they focused on stopping new plastic from coming into the ocean. Everyone thought it would be too much work to clean up the plastic that was already there. Some estimates said it would take 79,000 years to remove. The problem fascinated Boyan. He loved a challenge. Working on something everyone else thought couldn't be done made it even more exciting. He started brainstorming ideas of how to do the impossible. Boyan graduated from high school in 2012. He was headed to the Delft University of Technology as an aerospace engineering student, But first, he was invited to present his ideas about ocean cleanup at a TEDx conference. Now, if you don't know what a TED Talk is, TED stands for Technology, Education, and Design. These conferences feature speakers who talk about big ideas and exciting new technologies. TEDx Talks give speakers the chance to present well-formed ideas in under 18 minutes. Sometimes they include tech demos, performances, or presentations of art. Some talks are as short as 5 minutes. All past presentations can be found online, including Boyan's original talk. The solution Boyan had dreamed up involved floating platforms that looked like huge spaceships. The device used the ocean's wave to move itself and gather up plastics. Everything on the platform, including the lights and electronics, was solar powered. Boyan named his device the Ocean Cleanup Array. These arrays would be anchored to the ocean floor. As the ocean currents moved, the trash around the array would be captured by the platforms. After it was full of trash, a ship would come and bring the garbage to shore. The recycled ocean plastic would help pay for the array. Working with nature instead of trying to fight it, he said later. It was an interesting idea, but no one stepped forward to back the project. But Boyan couldn't stop thinking about it. After a few months of college, Boyan made the decision to drop out. He founded his own nonprofit organization and called it the Ocean Cleanup. His starting fund was just 300 euros of his own savings. In 2012, 300 euros would have been worth a little less than $400, just to help us understand how much that was. Boyan felt that no one else was trying to solve the problem, and that the problem got worse every year. He wanted to learn more. He spent his time interviewing researchers and other experts. He had a list of questions that would need to be answered to see if his idea would work. In March of 2013, things started to turn around for the ocean cleanup. Some news sites saw his TED Talk. They shared it, and Boyan went viral. He was soon being called day and night for interviews by reporters all over the world. Boyan launched a crowdfunding campaign to get the ocean cleanup off the ground. He raised $90,000 and was able to hire a team of smart people to help him make his dream a reality. In 2014, Boyan was given the Champion of the Earth Award from the United Nations Environmental Program. He was the youngest person ever to receive it. Starting the cleanup. The first thing the ocean cleanup did was perform a feasibility study. This would see if the arrays could work. Almost 100 scientists and engineers volunteered to help read over Boyan's proposal. They wrote a huge 500-page report called How the Oceans Can Clean Themselves. The report found that Boyan's idea was possible. With enough arrays, almost half the Great Pacific Garbage Patch could be cleaned in only 10 years. The study also looked at possible negative environmental impacts of removing the trash. Even though the ocean would be a better place without the plastic, the cleanup had to be done carefully or sea life could be hurt. Marine animals like humpback whales are hurt by ocean pollution, and it's important that the cleanup systems are safe for them. Boyan estimated that each array would cost almost $5 million. To raise money, he started sending letters to companies. He described the ocean cleanup's vision. Then he asked for their help. No one wanted to contribute. Boyan knew how important his work was. He refused to let a lack of funding stop him. He again turned to everyday people to help bring his vision to life. Now that he had a detailed study backing up his idea, he ran another crowdfunding campaign. The campaign was a huge success. More than 38,000 people gave $2 million towards the project. Additionally, several wealthy philanthropists stepped in. This let the ocean cleanup move on to the next step of their plan, creating the first real map of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is also called the Subtropical Convergence Zone. It is one of many garbage patches in our global ocean. Look at the size of that. Boyan's campaign was the most successful ever run by a nonprofit. He raised $1 million in just over 1 month. Before they could start building anything, the ocean cleanup needed to learn more about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Everyone knew where it was, but no one had mapped it fully. Boyan also wanted to know exactly what kind of plastic made up the patch. In August of 2015, the ocean cleanup launched the mega expedition. Around 30 ships sailed to the patch. They took samples of the plastic they found there. This was the largest research expedition to take place on the open sea. This is the mega expedition's crew as they deploy a trawl to sample the plastic pollutants. The ocean cleanup estimates that the Great Pacific Garden Patch is the size of 14,000 football fields. The team found the patch was much bigger than anyone had thought. They also found that more than 90% of the plastic was still large enough to be easily removed. Amazingly, almost half of the trash they found was discarded fishing nets. Nets and other fishing supplies that get lost or abandoned at sea are known as ghost gear. These items make up almost 10% of all new plastic entering the ocean. They can last for up to 600 years before breaking down. They are especially dangerous to ocean life, which can get seriously hurt or die because of eating or getting caught in them. The information found by the mega expedition was just what Boyan and his engineers needed to get to work. They started developing prototypes of the systems they would use to clean up the trash. The design of the cleanup system had now changed quite a bit from Boyan's original idea. A more flexible floating line or boom had been added. It would be connected to netting that floated beneath the waves. The netting would be more durable than a large platform. It would also be able to avoid being damaged by the high waves of the Pacific Ocean. The first prototype was launched in 2016. It was set in the dangerous waters of the North Sea off the coast of the Netherlands. The waves and currents here were even stronger than in the Pacific. After 2 months at sea, the test system started to show some damage. Boyan's team had to pull it back to shore. Instead of seeing the test as a setback, they treated it as a learning opportunity. Being able to look over the test system let them make an important discovery. They found that it would work better if it wasn't anchored to the ocean floor. Their updated design used giant underwater parachutes that slowed down the system. Hopefully this would allow the system to capture plastic better and also not get damaged as easily. Boyan's team used the information from their prototypes and kept making improvements. Finally, in 2018, Boyan was ready to show the world what the ocean cleanup had been working on. The new platform was named System 001. It launched from San Francisco and was towed to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Its mission was to prove to the world that the ocean's cleanup technology would work. Soon after System 001 arrived at the garbage patch, it was clear something wasn't right. Plastic would be caught by the system, but the strong ocean waves would easily wash it away. While the team worked hard trying to fix this, a huge section of the boom broke off. After only 4 months at sea, the mission had to be canceled. The broken system was towed back to shore. Many people wondered if Boyan would ever succeed. They wrote about how he had made big promises but could not actually follow through. But Boyan believed in his project. He was determined to learn what he could and make the next versions of the system better. Boyan and his engineers spent the next 5 months working even harder to find out what went wrong. They created a new test platform named System 001B. This latest system had several modular parts that could be switched out to test which part worked better. All of these tests paid off. System 001B successfully captured and held on to the plastic that floated into it. In December 2019, the first batch of plastic retrieved from the garbage patch was brought back to shore in Canada. The garbage collected filled 2,112 cubic foot bags. So what's next? The team members at the Ocean Cleanup are moving into the next decade excited about what they are achieving. They are taking the lessons they have learned from all their tests and building a new and improved system 002. This will be the version of the cleanup platform they will use on a large scale. Plans for a dozen more systems are standing by once they secure the funding. Boyan hopes for a fleet of 60 of these platforms. They will work together to clean up the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The plastic they bring to shore will be used to create products that will be sold to help pay for the cleanup. Boyan's goal is to use all the plastic they recover and not send any of it to a landfill. While working on perfecting the ocean cleanup system, Boyan was thinking of the bigger picture. How could he solve the problem of new plastic coming into the sea? In 2017, the Ocean Cleanup started testing the Interceptor. The solar-powered platform floats on rivers and catches garbage before it can ever get to open water. These platforms can remove more than 50 metric tons of plastic every day. This is an interceptor that's docked in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, near the Maritime Museum. Now, it's made of what? Companies are already using recycled ocean plastics to create new things. Some of those include sunglasses, shoes, bags, packaging for beauty supplies, clothing, skateboards, and tableware such as plates, cups, and vases. Boyan's goal is to place interceptors in every highly polluting river in the world. This will let the ocean cleanup attack the plastic problems at both ends by reducing new trash and removing trash that is already there. Boyan's goal for his organization is to remove 90% of all floating trash in the ocean by 2040. Eventually, all rivers do lead to the ocean. Around 1,000 rivers in the world are responsible for 80% of the new plastic that flows into the ocean. This is the Ozama River in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. It awaited its cleanup by the Interceptor in 2020. Boyan Slat broke a Guinness World Record at the age of 14. He founded his own company and gave a TED Talk at 18. In 2017, he was chosen as Reader's Digest European of the Year. In 2019, the European Commission appointed Boyan a board member of its ocean mission. He continues to be recognized for his knowledge and achievements. But his journey started in a quite simple way. He found a problem and went searching for a solution. Like so many other visionaries, he didn't let popular opinion stop him from trying to do the impossible. Boyan doesn't know exactly what the future holds for him or what his next project will be. He does know that he wants to keep tackling big problems and help make the world a better, cleaner place. And you know what? I think he'll do it. And I think you can do it too.